Abby watched her 6-year-old son, Zion, race his toy cars across the living room floor. A wave of warmth washed over her. Zion was a sweet boy who had inherited his father's smile. His dad, Raymond, was a brilliant lawyer who had built his own firm, R&C Attorneys, from the ground up. Abby was proud of her husband and knew how hard he worked. But sometimes in the rush of their busy lives, she felt he didn't see that she worked hard too. She loved her job just as much as she loved her family, and she wouldn't have it any other way. Raymond was a good man, but their love story had become less of a fairy tale and more of a thorny bush. It was a marital crisis that Abby had been navigating for some time now. She knew it wouldn't be a short story, but a long road they were on together. It was a journey she wanted to share from the beginning. The evening started like any other. Monday had been long, and Abby was looking forward to a quiet dinner with her family. Zion was on the floor, lost in a world of little toy cars, and she was just finishing setting the table. The front door opened, and Raymond walked in. Abby greeted him with a warm, "Hello," but he didn't answer. His eyes scanned the living room, taking in the scattered toys, and his shoulders tensed. "Why is this place littered with all manner of things?" he asked, his voice sharp with anger. Abby could feel the familiar tension building, a storm gathering in their quiet home. She looked at Zion, still happily playing, and knew she had to shield him from this. "Sweetheart, can you take your cars to your room, please?" she said gently. He quickly gathered his toys and left, leaving them alone in the sudden silence. As soon as Zion was gone, the accusations began. Raymond's anger turned on Abby. "You're not doing your job as a mother or a wife," he said, the words cutting deep. He blamed her office work, saying it was consuming all her time and attention. "You should quit your job," he told her. The words hung in the air, heavy and shocking. At first, Abby couldn't believe it. She thought it was just the anger of the moment speaking, but deep down, a part of her knew this was different. She tried to reason with him, to explain that her job wasn't the problem, but he wasn't listening. "Just one child, Abby," he exclaimed, the words filled with frustration. "Just one child, and we are in this mess." He kept talking, but Abby stayed silent. She had learned that it was best to let the storm pass with Raymond. When he was angry, she waited for him to finish before saying anything. "So if we have more than one child, we will definitely start living in a garbage dump," he said, his voice rising with a new level of anger. That's when Abby snapped. "Don't talk to me that way, Raymond. I'm your wife, not your maid." She could feel the years of quiet resentment bubbling up. "I clean this whole house by myself," she continued, the words now coming out in a torrent. He just stood there watching her, his face unreadable. "I cook for you. I take care of our son without asking you for anything." She didn't realize she was yelling until her voice cracked. "What exactly do you want from me?" Raymond asked, his voice suddenly low as he walked toward her. Raymond would never lay a hand on her. He wasn't that kind of man. "I provide you with everything a housewife could ever ask for," he said, his words heavy with what he believed was an indisputable truth. But the word housewife hung in the air. It was the final piece of the puzzle, the heart of the matter. Abby knew she could never be just a housewife, not a content one anyway. Her job wasn't just a pastime. It was a part of who she was, and she loved earning her own money. When she didn't reply, Raymond turned and stormed out of the room, leaving her standing alone, a hollow mix of sadness and confusion settling in her chest. The next morning, the tension was still thick. Raymond was looking for his favorite shirt for a big presentation at work, but Abby hadn't washed it. She had meant to, but a last-minute meeting at Zion's school had completely thrown off her schedule. When she told him, he erupted. "Because of you, I don't have my lucky shirt. This is all your fault," Raymond yelled. Abby felt terrible, but his anger seemed so out of proportion. The wardrobe was full of other shirts, any of which would have worked just as well. She tried to reason with him, but he wouldn't calm down. Then he crossed a line. He told her to quit her job right then and there. It wasn't just a suggestion this time. He told her to choose between her career and their marriage. It was an insult to everything she was, but she was too tired to argue anymore. Later that morning, as Abby was dusting the living room, a knock on the door broke the silence. It was Mr. Wilson from her office. He was beaming, and for a moment she forgot about the fight. He told her the company had just won a massive contract, all because of a presentation she gave last week. They wanted to promote her, give her a huge raise, and even a new car. It was everything she had ever worked for, the ultimate validation. But the news didn't fill her with joy. Instead, a wave of sadness washed over her. She told him she was planning to resign that very morning. The shock on his face mirrored the one in her heart. He tried to convince her to reconsider, but the words were already out. After he left, the tears came. Her job meant so much, but so did her family. Raymond was making her choose, and she didn't know what to do. The thought of losing a career she had fought so hard for, all because of her husband's insecurity, was exhausting. Later that afternoon, Abby went to the office to hand in her resignation. Her boss, Mr. David, saw the letter in her hand and immediately sensed something was wrong. He looked at her with understanding in his eyes and refused to take the letter. "You're a great worker, Abby," he said, his voice gentle. "You're also a good mother and a hard worker. Go home, rest, and come back when you're ready." His words hit her. He saw her. He saw both the professional and the mother. She thanked him and left, but her heart felt heavier than ever. It seemed impossible to have both her family and her job, yet she loved them equally. All she wanted was for all of them to be happy. Back at Raymond's office after his meeting, a young lawyer named Muna came to see him. "You did great, sir," she said, her smile bright as she sat down. She was there to talk about a new case, a big one. Raymond advised her to let the senior lawyers handle it, but Muna was insistent. "No one is above the law," she declared, eager to prove she was capable of taking on a challenging case. After some thought, Raymond gave in and told her to go for it. At Raymond's apartment, the night came with its usual rhythm. The three of them sat at the dinner table. The silence was thick, still heavy with the day's fight. Abby's resignation was on her mind, and she couldn't hold the words in. "I resigned," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Raymond didn't even look up. "No wonder we're eating a different meal this time," he replied, his words laced with a cold sarcasm that cut deeper than any shout. The comment was so cruel, so dismissive of what Abby had given up for him. Her appetite vanished, replaced by a fresh wave of hurt. She pushed her plate away and left the table, unable to sit there for another second. The next day, Raymond was at his office when the news broke on the television. It was all good news about their case. Muna had won. She had captured the admiration of everyone at the firm, including Raymond. A knock on the door brought Sadiq, one of Raymond's closest colleagues, into the office with a wide grin. "I told you Muna was a genius," he said, his face beaming. "This, my friend, calls for a celebration," Raymond replied, a smile spreading across his face. As the celebration was in full swing, Muna's husband, Edwin, walked in. "I had to come as soon as I heard the news, Honona," he said, pulling her into a warm hug. Raymond saw him and walked over, still smiling. He showered Muna with praise, talking about the high hopes he had for her when he first hired her. "I am really proud of you, Muna," he said, his voice filled with admiration. The irony was not lost on Abby. Another woman was making her husband proud with her job, while he had just forced her to quit hers. Muna stood before everyone to give her speech. She thanked Raymond for giving her the chance to prove herself. Then she turned to her husband, Edwin, her voice softening. "And to the one person who has stood by me all these years," she said, her eyes on him. "You've been nothing but supportive." A hush fell over the room as everyone listened, captivated by her words. Raymond was listening too. "Even in my next life, I will still choose you as a partner," Muna said. The words resonated with everyone, but something about Raymond shifted. He stood there uncomfortably, a strange silence hanging over him. After the celebration ended and everyone was back at their desks, Edwin came into Raymond's office. "Thank you, sir, for believing in my wife," he said, "for giving her this opportunity to prove herself." "Your wife is a very hard-working woman," Raymond replied, a hint of unease in his voice. "She deserves everything." As soon as Edwin left, something unexpected happened. Raymond took his phone and dialed Abby's number. It was strange, he hadn't called her from work in a very long time. He kept calling, but she didn't pick up. She had no intention of answering, not for more hurtful words. He may have been coming to his senses, but it was too late for that. He stood up, grabbed his things, and left the office in a hurry. "Where on earth are you running to?" Sadiq asked as Raymond rushed past him. "I need to quickly do something at home," Raymond yelled, already heading for his car. As he got into the driver's seat, his phone rang again. He answered without checking the caller ID. "Oh, thank goodness you called back. I've been trying to reach you," he said. "Sorry, am I speaking with Mr. Raymond?" a voice on the other end asked. He looked at his phone, and then, in a thunderous voice, he asked, "Who is this?" He was furious, realizing it wasn't the person he was expecting. "This is Zion's class teacher," she replied. "Okay, so what is it?" he snapped. "School has been dismissed for the past 3 hours, and Zion is still here," she said. Raymond's voice filled with confusion. "Did my wife not come to pick him up?" he asked. "Okay, I'm on my way right now." He ended the call and sped off. Raymond got to the school as fast as he could. He met the teacher who had called, and there was Zion, looking so hungry and tired. "Did you try calling my wife?" Raymond asked the teacher. She told him she did, but there was no response. Abby couldn't help but notice that he started calling her his wife again. It was a strange detail to hear. Raymond took Zion, and they left the school. In the car, Zion asked him, "Daddy, why didn't Mummy come to pick me up today?" Raymond told him she was probably busy. "That's very unusual," Zion replied, and Raymond looked at his son with amazement. The boy was so smart for his age, he knew his mother's routine better than anyone. They arrived home and Raymond rushed inside, looking everywhere for Abby. After a long search, he told Zion to go to his room and change. He was still pacing, searching the whole house. He went into their bedroom and checked the wardrobe. Her bags were gone. The moment he realized she had left, his worry turned to panic. "Abby, you can't do this to me," he said, his voice laced with desperation. "Even if you want to punish me, don't punish Zion." He sounded full of remorse. He pulled out his phone and called his friend Sadiq. "Sadiq, Abby is gone," he said, his voice low, as if trying to hold back tears. "What do you mean by Abby is gone?" Sadiq asked. Sadiq, his best friend, was aware of their recent troubles. "Did you guys have a fight?" he added. "I messed up, man," Raymond replied, his voice thick with a sniffle. While he was still on the phone, Zion came up to him. "Daddy, were you crying?" his son asked, looking straight at his face. Raymond quickly hung up. "I'll call you back," he told Sadiq. He quietly led Zion to the kitchen. "Let's see what we can make," he said, opening the freezer. There wasn't a single cooked meal inside. There's no cooked food, Zion," he said. "So we don't have food?" Zion asked in a small voice. "Of course we do," Raymond said, trying to sound confident. "I can make us noodles." Later at the dining table, after Raymond had served him, Zion looked at his bowl with a confused expression. "Daddy, is this golden morn? You said you were making noodles." He complained that the noodles were too soft and watery. "This isn't how Mama makes them," he said. Raymond tried to convince him to eat it anyway, telling him his mother wasn't around. He then left Zion to eat and went into their bedroom. He walked over to Abby's vanity table, picked up their wedding photo, and looked at it. "An hour without you feels like years," he said to the picture. "Please come back home," he added softly. Meanwhile, Abby had gone to stay with her best friend Susan. They had been friends since childhood, but had grown a little distant after Abby got married. Abby had gone there without telling Raymond, so he wouldn't come looking for her. She had decided this was the only way she could continue to work, and she told herself that Zion would be fine. "I can't believe it's been 3 years since I went shopping and had this much fun," Abby said to Susan as they walked out of the mall with their bags. "And yet, you still advise me to get married and give all this up?" Susan was a friend who enjoyed the single life more than anyone Abby knew. And one of the things Abby admired most about her was that she loved working for her own money. There was only one place Raymond would ever think to look for Abby, her office. She was shocked to see him walk in just as she was being given a new position. She had no idea what his intentions were, but there he was, smiling and clapping along with everyone else. When she came down from the stage, he approached her. "You look amazing today," he said. Abby didn't even realize she was blushing when she said thank you. Abby knew she could never truly run away from her marriage. She loved Raymond, and deep down, she knew he loved her too. Their life hadn't always been like this. They were once a happy family, completely in love. She knew that every marriage faces challenges, and they had to handle theirs with maturity, without letting outsiders influence their decisions. At that moment, he asked if he could take her out to celebrate her good news properly. She immediately said she would love to. She told him her dress was dirty from working all day, but he said that wouldn't stop him. They drove to a nearby boutique where he sat and watched her pick out a dress. He chose one that fit perfectly, and from there they went to a beautiful restaurant. That moment brought back memories of their very first date. It was sweet, and for the first time in a while, it felt like they were starting to find their way back to each other. As they ate, he wouldn't stop telling her how beautiful she looked. He apologized for his recent outbursts and said he was so proud of her. He promised to support her career from that day on. Abby was so happy he was finally back that she couldn't stop smiling. The night ended beautifully. Raymond wouldn't let Abby go back to Susan's place, and he said he would send someone to bring her things back home. From that night forward, her husband truly came back to her. He started waking up every morning to help Zion get ready for school. He helped with the laundry whenever he had free time, and he even joined her in the kitchen. It was all so wonderful. Abby's story ended with her fighting for both her job and her marriage, and both working out. Some might say the universe was favoring her, that without Muna's presence, Raymond might never have realized where he went wrong. But Abby believed it was also because she had the intention for her marriage to work. When one truly intends for something to work, the universe collaborates with that intention. Thank you for watching and listening. If this story touched you, please subscribe to the channel. Your support helps the creator continue to share more interesting tales.